Welcome, everyone. My name is Mark Willie, and of course, thank you all for joining today. I see all these wonderful faces. Really excited to be here and introduce some friends from Source 2050, of course. Today's session is all about practical solutions and the tools that help make high performance building easier to deliver in the real world. Huge thanks to Source 2050 for their continued support since the beginning of Passive House Accelerator, making all these sessions, including the one today, possible. So grateful for this continued partnership and commitment to advancing better buildings.
Today we are going to focus on Windows, on central part of any passive house or high performance project. Source 2050, hopefully most of you know, is a multi-vendor marketplace for high performance building materials. We cover everything from the envelope to the fenestrations to some interiors, everything that you need for a tight and high performing building. Our approach to Windows really is unique, I think, amongst other processes that are available. In that, first we start with a really broad selection of vendors that we know intimately well, and that allows us to really help you focus on what your criteria are, not what happens to be available from the company that you called or that you know, but starting with what are you actually trying to achieve? What is your material? What is your frame material requirement? What is your performance requirement? Do you have a made in America requirement? Let us start with what you're trying to achieve, and then let us do the work of matching you up with the vendors that we have that we think could be a good fit. We also have a process where we are then able to get those requests, those quotes from them, help you understand the quotes that have been brought in, to balance them, weigh them against each other. And then importantly, because we are a multi-vendor marketplace and we have products across the board, installation is hugely important. As you know, the most expensive, highest performing window is not going to help you at all if it's not installed properly. That the actual rubber hits the road when the flashing hits the rough opening. So we're going to organize our presentation today according to that process. Shannon Pendleton is going to start giving an overview of the vendors that we have on board when we look to them for solutions, what that process looks like when we start with a schedule or building set, a drawing set that comes in from a customer. How we walk through the process of getting quotes and helping you understand them. And then we're going to hand it off to Kevin Brennan, who's going to talk you through some of the great installation products that we have on Source 2050 that are available, that we can help you match with the window and the building materials that you're already using. Or if you haven't yet decided on what your envelope system is going to be, we can have that conversation early. So we're making sure that everything integrates with everything else, and you're going to have an airtight thermal bridge-free installation of the windows that you did select. Last two things is kind of two teasers. One of the materials that Kevin's going to talk a little bit about is from the Blaugelb company in Germany. They are now available in North America. It's a really exciting system. He's going to talk a little bit about today, but if you want to know more, Source 2050 is now doing product workshops twice a month, where we do a deep dive with a manufacturer that we have on the platform. Tomorrow is Blaugelb at noon tomorrow. There'll be a registration link in the chat. Sign up, come meet with the team and learn about how the system works and how it really is kind of revolutionary for how you can install your windows to make sure that you're really getting the R value that you signed up for when you purchased that window, because the installation is being done right. And then finally, the process that we're describing today is what we've been using. We've been working on a few tools to even improve that process. So we are looking for beta testers. If you have a project coming up and you've got a window schedule, a drawing set, have a sense of what you're trying to achieve, it's coming up in the next few months, next year, we know how the life of projects go. Please get in touch. If it fits kind of what we're looking to test on, we'll let you know, and we'd love to have you on as a beta tester as we develop that tool that we'll be hopefully launching later this year. So thank you all for being here. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Shannon.
Fantastic. Thank you, John. Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Kim and Zach, everybody who has come today. We love sharing Source 2050 with you all, and I am going to share my screen and share a couple of slides. And then I'm going to hand it to Kevin, and he's going to share some slides, and we're going to talk about not only buying windows, but installing windows, as John mentioned. And then we're going to answer your questions. So throw them in the chat. Let us know what's on your mind. And let me know if you can see my screen. All right, I see some thumbs up. Great. So welcome to Source 2050. It looks like my menu might be on my screen there. Let me get that out of the way. We stand by all of our manufacturers. We only offer high performance brands, and our specialty is really shopping across these brands. So how do you know which one is right for your project, right? Our specialty, again, is starting with that onboarding conversation. So we cover everything John mentioned, from historic requirements or landmark requirements, BABA requirements for Buy American, performance requirements. And after we have that conversation and understand every little detail about what you're looking for, what's right for your project, then we provide recommendations, maybe a handful of vendors to start with, give you some data sheets, and provide those quotes. And then we can have a live review across those manufacturers' quotes as needed. You know, sometimes you want to talk about it with us, sometimes you want to go through it yourself. We're here for however you like to fit into your workflow. So the revisions and the selections of a single manufacturer would be the next step. And then we make a direct introduction to that manufacturer. So the short story is there is no upcharge for any of the services we provide. So we just help you look across these brands and get the same price you would get if you went directly to them. And we've got expertise between Kevin and I on Passive House performance, modeling, and design, and then installation, airtightness, sequencing, and all the other products that you might want along with your windows to make sure that you're putting them in place as good as they're coming to you from the manufacturer. So if you have a sample project, send over your schedule, send over your drawings, and we will help you through the iterative process and to create a straight line out of that process. So next slide here, we're going to go through some of our manufacturers. This is Zola. If you're not familiar with them, they are a German window, and they have UPVC, they have wood clad, they have aluminum. They're a fantastic brand. I know many architects, including myself, who have used these on their projects for Passive House certified projects. They're very well known for their simulated double hungs for historic and landmarks, and they're also very well known for their lift and slide doors. Similar to them is Icon. We sell a lot of Icon's windows as well. They offer similar frame options, including steel. And then they also have a very good simulated double hung for historics as well. If you don't know what a simulated double hung is, throw that into the questions in the chat. We'll be happy to go over that with you. And after Icon, we have EnterSign. This is actually a project picture from the left for a project that we can talk about today. They are great for large sizes and high performance. You can see in the upper right picture here, there's a big piece of foam in this frame. That is kind of their claim to fame. And they can also do integrated screens for the exterior to provide exterior shading, which if your energy model is suffering is kind of a big deal. It can be a home run. For Biwiso, which is another manufacturer, this is one of our US manufacturers, or I'm sorry, another German manufacturer. They do beautiful work with wood. So you can see from their entry doors, just the amount of detail you can get. They can make it through historics on the windows and the doors. They also have a simulated double hung. And Schuko, our other German manufacturer, and they have UPVC, aluminum, steel, and aluminum clad UPVC. They can do curtain walls as well. So you can get an elegant look, and you can get a lighter lift and slide door with this kind of frame system. And they're really well known for their 0 level thresholds. Unilux, also European, another all wood, UPVC aluminum clad and aluminum frame. They have a wide selection of doors. These are pretty well known for being a little bit more budget friendly and can still hit Passive House certification levels. This is our Canadian manufacturer, Varsa. They have an incredibly great slim profile to their mullions, to their muntins, to their frames. And they ship from the west coast of Canada, but they have beautiful curtain walls as well and Passive House certified units. Wythe is the beginning of our US manufacturer line, and they are right here in New Jersey, not far from New York, not far from Pennsylvania, and they have very competitive pricing and lead times. And if you have BABA requirements, what you're getting with Wythe is a European extruded profile, extruded in the States. So they're not importing any part of that frame. So you can really hit your BABA requirements if you need Buy American, Buy American. Alpin is out in Colorado. They are phenomenal. We visited their manufacturing floor when we were at the Passive House conference a couple of years ago. They have a thin glass that they not only put in their windows, but that they offer to other manufacturers, which make their units really, really light. So you can even get that casement operation in a Passive House certified unit, which is hard to find. So the weight feature and maybe the more traditional install feature for Alpin makes them a favorite with contractors. They also have through Source 2050, the Winsert, which is an insert unit that you can push in place. It's like a friction joint, which is airtight, super insulated, and can take a single pane of glass up to Passive House levels of performance. So we have lots of before and afters of some case studies we've done with those Winserts that we'd love to share. Another US manufacturer that we onboarded recently and does beautiful work is Oakley Custom Woodworks. So they are in Alabama, and they've been known to do mock-ups for us for meetings over Zoom. So they are really, really great, a great partner to have. And we can't say enough about how much we're looking forward to bringing you their great work. Sierra Pacific, also a newer manufacturer for us. What we love about them, there's a lot to love about them, but they own their own forest, right? And they're an excellent steward of that forest. And they feature not only all wood and wood clad units, but a true wood curtain wall with LVLs inside. So it's super strong and very, very beautiful. So the last on the line is Colby, another project on the left there that we did a long time ago, pre-Passive House, but these are made in Wisconsin, and they have beautiful, beautiful historic profiles. And while they do have some Passive House units, they're very climate zone specific. So I don't use them in my colder climate projects, but for my warmer climate projects, not a problem. So now that you've seen a lot of what we have to offer, I hope you've dropped some questions in the chat about some of those. But this is really where we shine. This is our process. So you give us a call, we review your project with you. We go over the schedule, we go over the drawings, we ask you why you want certain things. We ask you if you haven't mentioned what kind of frame materials you're looking for. We get a short list, if not a single type of frame to quote. And then we bring all of that information to the vendor. And we vet those requests with the vendors in your short list. And then we bring those quotes back to you to compare side by side. And as John gave the sneak preview of, we're working on a really nice side-by-side comparison tool for Windows. We've had it a long time for our other products, but having it for Windows is a game changer, because if you've ever compared window quotes, it needs no explanation. So we look across all of these manufacturers for the things that matter most to you, and we'd love to have a conversation with you about it. So reach out anytime. Email me at shannon@source2050.com. We'll start a conversation. And with that, I am going to hand it over to Kevin to talk about install. So Kevin, take it away.
Shannon, great job. Thank you. As always, a wonderful presentation on the window ordering process at 2050. One of our other brands or products that we represent in my wheelhouse are the air tightness membranes, window sealing products, flashing systems. So you can buy an R7 window, top of the line, fully insulated, and you can turn that window into a leaky window if you don't seal it right. You can also make it get wet if you don't flash it correctly. And if you don't put it in the right position, which we'll cover at the end, is you can take that R7 window and turn it down into an R3.5 window or R3. So as far as our systems that we offer, we have multiple brands. We're only going to select on a few in here that are complete systems, but Dorkin by Delta by Dorkin has a few products for flashing the rough opening. They're a great total package of air sealing system from below grade up the wall membranes connecting into the rough openings and even some roofing products. So the one that I like the most, and you'll see in some of the pictures I have, is the liquid flashing. The liquid flashing is a great way to flash a complex geometry, spaces that are never really truly clean or smooth, and we want to fix them and make them correct. The other innovation that they have inside of their lineup is that the ready corners, the Delta FAS corner, that takes a lot of labor out of the game. Some people describe sealing or flashing rough openings as using origami or peel and stick, and it's all based on the primer. But where the rubber hits the road or the rubber goes into the corners, these Delta FAS corners are right there. And then they have their flashing. The regular peel and stick flashing comes in multiple different sizes from 6-inch to 12-inch to 18-inch. And it's a complete system. And they have tons of products within their line. You can find other vendors on our website. And then next slide. This is our Partel system. Partel is a European-based air sealing company. The first products that you see there are the Vara fluid, which is the fluid applied air barrier that can also be sprayed on the walls. This is my go-to product for my party wall air sealing. It hits those large brown stone, large surface areas, and makes easy work of sealing a complex old 100-year-old brick wall. And then for the membranes, we use the Vara Plus, which is a vapor variable air tightness membrane. And then where the tapes I love, and you'll see in some of the install photos here, is the VaraSeal. That is a double sticky adhesive tape that's on there that it has a fleece back nature to it, and it does all the hard work of the air sealing. And then the two other products are larger versions of the VaraSeal, but the SL and the Seal X, they have a little bit of a double-sided tape added to them, so then you can do complex air sealing. So you can pre-apply that tape to the window itself, and then fold it over, and then install it in the rough opening, pull it out, insulate the gap between the rough opening and the window, and then apply that tape and know that it's 100% sealed. They also have some adhesives and some sealants through Partel. All right, so we'll go over to the next slide, which I believe is the video. This video is of projects that I've worked on as an air sealing installer and coordinating the windows. This is the mock-up. It's a replication of what the window could look like. That's a replica of a Zola window. And then this is us as a group. Hit pause for a second, Shannon. If you could just go back slightly, I'll talk slower. So that is true teamwork in the working. That gentleman to the left is John Mokus, the window installer. Great gentleman and his team. They install windows perfectly. And that's the architect on the project, Frankie. And we're discussing as a group, the GC, the air sealing installer, the window installer, and the architect. What's the proper position? Where does it need to go? How we're flashing it in the real world environment. And we're slightly adjusting the details just to make sure that everything can all come together. So if you go a little more forward, we get the detail, right? So this is the detail that goes, it's inside of the window rough opening. These are Zola windows, triple pane. You can see on the outside, there's a brick mold. The outside of that brick mold is required to be there for historic reasons. And then we move to the left and we see that there's insulation between the frame and the window. We use spray foam on this one, but you don't have to use spray foam. You can fill that with other insulation products like the Almavert or some other load-bearing thermal brake material that's on the Source 2050 website, or you could use spray foam yourselves like we did. And then the hard parts to realize in this detail are where does the tape go, and then inside and outside. So we need a wind tight connection on the outside, and then we need an airtight connection on the inside. We'll let the video roll now, Sean. Thank you. All right, stop there. So that's the window installed from the outside. We're filling the gap between the window and where the window sits, because that wall's not perfect. We use the spray foam. We use 1 part foam that's not going to bulge the gap, as opposed to Baccarat, and then we'll cut it straight, and we'll use their sealant on the outside. So play it on. Good. All right, that's the corner, doing an outside corner. Quite delicate. It hides the brick mold there. The spray foam is in place, insulated fully 6 inches all the way around to reduce the thermal bridging of it. All right, continue. Good, stop there. So this window on a bench at waist height was pre-taped by my team and myself to get all of the windows all taped. And then the way they were finishing this is we were applying a buck around the window to that. Then they would then add all their finishing, their sills, their jams, and all their millwork to make this work. But we did this not install, but this is on the face. It's a good system. Makes it quite fast. Click it, Chad. Thank you. That's another view where the window is 100% air sealed. Then here at the bottom of the sill, this is where we use the liquid flashing. This is the Delta product at the bottom there. That makes the complex geometry nice and airtight and watertight. And if water does hit there, it's going to drain to the outside. We actually pitch the sill so that it goes to the outside. So it's about a 1/4 inch up in the front and out to the back. And you can't see it there because it's black and black. We added a 1/4 inch piece of wood that acts as our sill, our dam. So we slightly pop the window up in there. You can almost see it. And then we flash that 100% with the liquid flashing. Good there. That's the window installed. You see those corners. Those are called the dog ears in the corners there. Yep. And that's us installing, taping and pressing and cleaning the windows and making sure that the system is all intact. All right. Great. That's good for my install video there. Now I'm going to run through some of Shannon's. That's the finished product from the outside. You couldn't tell walking down the street that was a high performance window unless you had a thermal imaging camera to take a picture of it. But from start to finish, air sealed, flashed, insulated, and then performance checked going across there. Excellent. Thank you, Shannon. So from a Source 2050 perspective, this is our perfect wall assembly using Partel's system. We use the membrane on the outside. We'll start following step 1. It's the high performance triple pane window. On this project, they use the EnterSign product here. And then in between, the black layer that's there, number 2, is an expanding foam tape in the rough opening. That expanding foam tape has a different size that it would go through. I think they're rated in millimeter from 5 to 15. Make sure you buy the right one because you don't want to be out of that gap. Make sure your tolerances are tight. And then there's also the membrane. The black self-adhered membrane is the flashing in that inside of that's the jam that comes around, and it's on top of the Almavert, which is a thermal brake product from Partel that then insulates that area and can carry some of the load if needed on the bottom. And then on the other side of the wall is the reinforced fabric that's holding the blown in dense pack insulation in there. They did a great job from I could tell. I could tell it's like a firm mattress as a former cellulose installer there. So I'll take you through some of the detailed pictures of this project. Shannon, feel free to jump in at any time. Beautiful large glass, EnterSign, triple pane, high performance windows and doors installed. Nice large door, zero clearance from inside to outside. Very well done. The beauty is that there's thermal brake material underneath there as well. That's the finished product, and then we'll take you through the next step. Working smart and hard at the same time, lifting glass with smart machines. Some of these these panels of glass can be in the hundreds of pounds, and this little robot machine suction cup makes it a lot easier to move these within the 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch that they need to line up with. All right. And I think that's a really cool window there that has a all glass seal. Shannon, you can talk about that if you want now or later.
Yeah, sure. And that was actually John Mokus again installing this. So we're not far from your job site. And so he traveled for us. But the EnterSign windows came with these awesome pockets for the blinds as well. So we were mulling these together on site and also integrating them with these motorized shades. And we needed those in order to satisfy the energy model because there was so much glass on this project.
Yeah, in my opinion, we've kind of mastered the envelope and air sealing aspect of Passive House. I think the next frontier is managing our sun exposure with our architectural styles. I do think there's a large market for exterior automated shading within some of these projects that we're working on. I know Mike has in his house, he can talk to it, but his bulkhead might overheat a little in the summer, and it's surprising how passive houses perform on some of these projects. High performance
Yeah,
problem, high performance
100%.
projects.
We
So
use a lot of Source 2050 products on this project. So we not only use the EnterSign windows and doors, but we used all of the Partel family of tapes and membranes. And then we also used Rockwell on the outside and blown in on the inside.
yeah. So the complete air tightness system there, and then this is that same photo. You can see the thermal break material underneath the membrane there, the expanding foam tape in between the window and the rough opening. You see how it's perfectly fit in there, and that's the exterior of the product right there. Beautiful finish, soon to be landscaped, and cold outside, warm inside. The thermal imaging doesn't show any extra heat release in any other areas. If that was a code built building, you would be seeing a lot different colors on that thermal imaging picture there.
100%. Yep, it really is performing beautifully, and the views that are captured by these large expanses of glass and the comfort that you feel when you sit in this window, in that window seat, is incredible.
Yeah.
I think it's the experience, Passive House experience.
Bringing that X back.
Yeah.
Shannon, if you could pull up the Source 2050 website and just go to the Blaugau product page if you can, unless I can show it,
I
introduce
will.
everyone.
I will. And tomorrow we're going to talk all about Blaugau. And how are the questions coming in? Are there any that you want to take while I pull that up?
I don't see anyone any particular. Let me look at the chat here.
I'll drop the question queue right now for you all.
Yeah, we have a bunch. Thank you so much, Kevin and Shannon, while you get that pulled up. We we have a bunch of questions. Kevin, are you ready for what? Oh, let's have Shannon do this first.
All right, so I'll
Actually,
just cover this
Kevin,
part.
take it away.
Yeah, so the beauty of I taught the Passive House tradesperson course for many years when it was here in New York City, and one of the hardest changes that contractors and trades have is, where do we put these windows? How do we put these windows in? So the Blaugau is in a traditional stick-built building. The ideal place for the window is in the insulation line. So if you have exterior insulation outbound, you want your window in line with your system. So that means, from like a construction standpoint, your windows are kind of like hanging outside, and that scares general contractors and regular contractors of, how we carrying the weight. What's the wind going to do? So this is an engineered system that gets attached to the outside. It can handle the structural load. It's got a fastening system. It won't absorb moisture. It will not absorb any of the water, and it's got a complete sealing system that goes into it. We'll learn more about this tomorrow, but you can, in a common construction stick built, in my neck of the woods in Staten Island here, looking at projects going up, the windows really should be outbound in the insulation layer. And this is a way to rather making bucks out of plywood or 2x4s, this material does two birds at one stone of being insulation and a structurally a structurally sound product that then can perform on the window. And then you can use whatever air sealing system that you're going to use or flashing system integrated with their products.
And they've
And
got
then,
that great sloped sill product, which is so handy.
yeah, and from installing windows, if they're UPVC or even wood windows, that other product they have where the sill, where it's almost like a jam extension underneath that fits in the next one over to the left, Shannon, the sill connection profile, that just is a insulated sill extender. So then it gets the window off the actual rough opening, gives you the ability to seal it, but it's on insulation. And then they also have another set of products where it's sheets of EPS that then you can custom make whatever sizes you need. So I think it's a great product line. We're finally getting that European engineering products here to the US. And it's happening. If you want to pull up Almavert from Partel as well, Shannon, when we're talking thermal break window install.
Yeah, the Almavert is wonderful. We've got the 180 and the 115, but it's wonderful because it's nailable, it's screwable.
It's not on the screen, Shannon. Sorry.
Yep, I'm pulling it up while we're talking about it. Thanks, Mark. But what's nice about it, it's nailable, it's screwable, and you can mill it just like wood. You can caulk it, you can slope it, and it's a better thermal break than wood is. You know, when we're dealing with thermal break materials, sometimes we're building in wood, so we want a thermal break material that has a higher R value than wood. Sometimes we're building in steel, and we want a thermal break material that's stronger and is less conductive than steel. Might not be as good as wood, but it's what you want for the steel piece. So that's another part of the conversations that we have when we figure out what you're working with in your project and what you might benefit from in our arsenal of products. So
Yeah, I see this product on my brownstone products, some projects, that there needs to be a space between the window buck where they installing the plywood around it for the finishing for the inside, and we can take a strip 1/2 inch or 3/4 of that Almavert and thermally break the window we're putting in there. So I think it's a great application, and those slope sills make things a lot easier, because I believe everything in construction should kind of be dual purpose. It should be doing two birds at one stone, some sort of waterproofing and insulation. This way you're maximizing your systems. So, all
yeah,
right.
I'm excited to have them on tomorrow to talk more about the whole family of Blaugeld products.
Yeah, and they have everything from sealants to foams. It's all, and their fasteners, they're all engineered and rating. It's a complete and total system. And from a contractor point of view, like, I love using a complete system because it takes a little bit of liability off myself. I'm using the whole system. I know I'm going to get support. I know it works in Europe. I know it works here in the US, and it's been proven. And all those projects that we showed are proven, passive house, air tightness tested, currently performing projects, if it's a brownstone or a beautiful architectural representation in the Pennsylvania area that Shannon worked on. We're supporting these products through 2050, and we're giving our real world experiences of using the products, and it's kind of compiling everything and trying to make your process of designing and building a passive house or high performance building a lot easier. And we're just here to help, and we're here to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes that we did early on.
Yeah, or we can share our mistakes and the mistakes of all of the videos that we get to see on Passive House Accelerators, so that you don't have to make them. You can learn from the rest of us. So I see a lot of friendly faces out there. I see a Passive House Accelerator construction tech person out there. I see Sean Sainamore. Hi, Sean Sainamore. Did you get a load of my Passive House experience moment? All right. So what about some questions? What do you guys think?
I was actually going to just say, just before we jump into the Q&A, I just wanted to tie together points that each of you made, which I think are kind of important for what we do at Source, which is really this holistic approach to the project, right? The windows are an important part, but it's part of a larger project that really important to keep your eye on from the earliest part of the development process. And that starts with, vetting what your requirements are, understanding what vendors are worth talking to. The vendors know that we're doing that. So when they hear from us, they know that we've already spent a lot of time. This is not a tire kicker that they're just putting at the back of their queue. We spent a lot of time with this project. We've answered a lot of the questions that they typically have right out of the gate. That stalls the process. I'm still waiting on my quote. Where is it? Oh, they were waiting to hear something from me, right? We got to go through that first process with you. So when the requests are submitted, they're teed up, they're sharper. We're going to get a faster response from vendors. And we're doing that with an eye to what the overall goals of the project are. And that carries all the way through to the installation. We're looking at not just what the envelope system is, what your insulation is. We've got the timber HP, wool, hemp, mineral wool, lots of insulation products, as well as the tapes, membranes, thermal break materials. All of this should really be thought of together as a continuous system. And how is the window being installed into that system is critical. So it really is a tremendous advantage to have that holistic view from the earliest moments in the project. And it's one of the things that Shannon and Kevin are frankly amazing at. I just wanted to make sure that I pulled those 2 points together. And now let's jump back into the Q&A. Thank you.
John, that was so eloquent. I will echo this presentation was very, very welcomed for this time of year with the cold. We understand that our walls and systems are important. I hope many of you took as many screenshots as I did. Apple warned me I better stop. While we're going through the questions, again, please keep adding yours. And besides the solutions and products and delivery that Source provides, remember the key components are that team of Kevin and Shannon are answering the questions today. And that's the same support you're going to get. So we're going to hear from Lucio, Marcy, Austin, Scott, Daniel, Chris, Jane, and a few others. Lucio, if you could turn your camera on and start us off, your question number.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi.
Well, I guess maybe it's not specifically a Passive House question, but given the economic climate, and sometimes we want to, venture out of the Canadian supplied products. Does anyone have any details of the difficulties of ordering some of these products and getting them into Canada at the moment?
John, do you want to take that one or do you want me to start us off? I think you're on mute, John.
I would say go right ahead.
Yeah, so we can definitely ship to Canada, and it really just comes down to the climate, as you mentioned, of tariffs, taxes, shipping, and what shipping requirements you have when we get to the site. What kind of staging you have. Do you need a lift gate? And we go through all those questions when we first start onboarding a project and talking about what the requirements are. We want to know what lead times you're trying to hit. And we want to know, when you need these on site and what else you need with them in order to make that install go smoothly. So I hope that answers your question.
Well, actually, if I may elaborate, I guess, we would like to be able to accurately estimate basically tariffs, what those will be before we even start sourcing the materials. Is that possible to do, or does it come as a surprise when we go to the broker?
No, we include that on the quote.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Now we can't help the situation where the tariffs have changed in overnight without warning, which we run into, as you can imagine. But we're able to provide that up front. Our vendors each have made their own kind of elections on whether they're just going to not cross the border, or if they are, how they're going to handle it, and they keep us up to date on how that's being handled. So totally transparent on that. And if we don't have, I don't think we've run into it, but if there's a situation where we just aren't going to know until it's at the border, we would let you know, and then let you make that decision. But the goal is always just total transparency on anything that's going to go out.
Yeah, we're
Fantastic.
really designers and builders first. We really don't have salespeople at Source 2050. Our products speak for themselves. So really, the more honest we can be with you about what to expect, the easier it'll be. We had Dorkin show their Delta product line on
Mm.
our product workshop, what, a week ago, 2 weeks ago. They stopped shipping the nails with some of their products that they formerly used to ship the nails with, just because of the tariffs. They were marking
Wow.
up the price of the whole product because the nails were in there.
Just for
So,
nails,
you
yeah.
know, everybody's pivoting to try to make this the best it can be, but I don't think any of us are particularly happy with it.
Okay, thanks for that.
Thank you for the question.
To cushion the blow, Lucio, I now call tariffs resort fees. So just like going to Disney World or Vegas, we have a resort fee.
That's true. Yeah.
Thank you, Lucio. And
Thank you.
Marcy, if you're here, pertinent question, you're up next.
Hi,
Hi,
thank
Marcy.
you. Hello. Just a question for us using PHPP. Do you help us find all of those inputs for the windows and doors?
Yes, and we also help you get the glazing certificates. And we even go as far as figuring out if you have mullions and muntins, which one has the best warm edge spacer, because sometimes that's the difference of certifying and not certifying. We get super nerdy. Yes, Marcy, happy to help.
All right, we have a yes. And Austin, you've got a question regarding Icon. Are you with us, Austin? So Austin Dent has asked, where is Icon and EnterSign based? Kevin, do you want to take that?
Yeah, Icon is based in Brooklyn. They distribute throughout the U.S. And then EnterSign is I believe, a European company. I believe they're headquartered in Germany, and then they are distributing through the U.S. as well.
And I believe
EnterSign is there. EnterSign's in the chat actually, and they've
Yeah.
provided a plethora of detail on their process.
Amazing. Thank you, EnterSign. And Icon does have their headquarters in Brooklyn, but their windows are Polish. And they are beautiful.
just
So
ask
the high performance window market here in the US is in its infancy. You know, I mean, we are taking products from Europe and different manufacturers and bringing them into the market here. We do think that there is room for improvement based on our US manufacturing here, and we want to inspire the market with our project performance requirements and the systems that we're choosing. So if you want to design the best building that you can afford, we want to make sure that those systems are available, and we're here to make it easier for you to get those products and to not jump those hurdles. Because 10, 15 years ago, we were getting all our windows from Europe, and there was some logistical issues and growing pains. And we think that we're working through those curves, getting more systems, putting them in place, and making things easier. And we hope in the future that we can organize all this information and standardize it so that it makes it easy for everyone. So
Definitely. We wrote the chapter in Philly on the Passive House row house manual, and the windows and doors chapter included things like, if you want one key for all your doors, we have to ask for that in a special request, because that isn't the case in how they come over from Europe. So it looks like Daniel Hall's up next. Is that right, Mark?
we have Daniel Hall, and if Scott Derber is still with us, we'll hit Scott after Daniel and then on to Chris.
Hi there.
Dan-
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. My question, we work a lot in the nonprofit sector. We're doing a women's shelter right now. We'll be Passive House 4-story building. Our clients are looking for competitive pricing. So although we will work with a construction manager, we will have to get 3 different quotes, for example, on our window system. They will not accept sole sourcing of most things like that. Is that something you guys can assist us with, or do we have to find you and 2 others?
No, that is what we do, because we don't just represent one vendor. And so we like you to choose from a set of vendors. unless you know who you want right away, and in which case it's even easier. But typically, what we'll do is have that conversation, that onboarding conversation, pare it down to 3 vendors. 3 is always a nice number because you get small, medium, and large, right? Or when they hang together, you know you're in the right ballpark. But that's exactly what we do, Daniel. So that's a perfect fit.
Okay, and a quick follow-up. We have a very good working relationship with Beta Windows who imports things from Poland. Would you be able to work with someone like that we already engage with? Because we would certainly
Yes,
want to.
definitely. Yep. We onboard new products all the time, as long as it's not outside of a high performance line, right? And we even incubate products sometimes when we're trying to help a product get to market because we believe in it and it doesn't have the ability to reach an audience like we do. So yes, I'd be happy to
Yeah.
talk to Beta. I know we've talked to them in the past.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd add 2 points on that, Daniel. That the competitive bids is a perfect application for our process. You know, it works really, really well with how we handle things, help you comply with that. And second, yeah, we're always looking for new vendors, and we don't, you know, everything that we have on board, we have well vetted, and there are companies that stand behind their products. We're not creating sort of just a, you know, an Alibaba or it's everything under the sun that would help nobody. But we want to have options, you know, in every category that we list. So we always try to have direct competitors side by side. We think that's important for the market, to create transparency in the decision making process or what you're purchasing. So we're always looking for new vendors. We're contacted frequently by vendors that are trying to get on board. And I'd say at this point, maybe close to half of our vendors came through projects. They weren't there when we launched. Somebody we're working with recommended a product or asked about a product. They didn't know if it existed. We went out and found it, and then onboarded it. And so now it was available for that project and then every project that comes after. So just as a general proposition, if anyone on this call today knows of a vendor that they like, or they don't know if a product exists but they wish it did, you know, it might be, let us know. We kind of love those research projects. Let us either bring on an existing vendor that you love that more people should know about, or find a solution that you're not sure that exists, and it might. Or as Shannon said, we work with a lot of kind of startup small businesses and startups that are innovating in the space. And if we see that there is demand for something that they're working on or something that they could be working on, that's really good information for us to have as well. So don't be shy on any of those. Reach out anytime, info@source2050.com. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Daniel. Teamwork makes dream work, right? Let's keep those good companies bringing them to the doorstep of Source so that they reach the rest of the market. You're up next, Mr. Chris Lomar Giddings. What's up, bud?
What's going on, Mark? Hey, man. Hello, sir. And you're looking good with the new gray hat. I like it. Shannon and the Source 2050 team, I want to give you guys a big thumbs up. We've worked with you. Hello, Shannon. Hello, John. And just that you guys are delivering all of this, and it's very useful. Your resourcefulness is great. I just testimonial. I've been through it. You guys are awesome. But recently I've mentioned this on the Insta, but I think it's important that we design and spec window or design houses, we build houses, we spec, we choose all the windows. We also consult with people across the country. We're certified passive house consultant, HVAC design, things like that, building envelope. And in that consulting, we're getting a lot of these estimates for window packages, window and door packages. And it's always, it's Schuko, it's a lot of these European windows that are being imported. And the manufacturer over there, their default is 0.5 solar heat gain coefficient, or somewhere in the 0.5 to 0.6 range, because that works over there in Europe, many parts of Europe. And it also works up north here in the States. We're in the South. I'm not trying to say you think of us as stepchildren, but we do see a lot of this. It just shows up as 0.5. And I think at this distributor level, at Source 2050 and others, I think it's a great opportunity to provide this glass specification help and assistance in it and really understanding it. And I know you do that, but what I'm seeing is from distributors throughout the country, we are seeing this glass continue to come in at 0.5. And if someone on the team isn't like Mark or me or any of you, you're going to see that they're not going to necessarily going to say, well, it's European. That's just how it works. Like, they're amazing high performance windows. That 0.5 must mean something different because it says G factor and not solar heat gain coefficient. And then you take the G factor and you can get a SHGC by taking out all the mullions and blah, blah, blah. But you gotta, this is something that it's something we should, I think, be concerned with, provide that expertise, really dig deep, because otherwise they're just going to order it, put it in the building, and nobody knows any different, you know? So anyway, just a thought, put it out there.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate it. And all the details matter. The glazing details, the warm edge spacers, the mullions, the glass type, the frame type, which one you're using. Is it the front facade, the rear facade? All of that matters. And that takes a very detailed team. And that should not be the intern architect that's new into the industry checking details, because it takes a lot of years and details to understand. And that's the expertise that me, Shannon, and John bring to this. We're not perfect. It takes a team, the village of the GC, the architect, the owner, everyone working together to get the right product on site and get it to perform. So thank you, Chris.
May I
Yeah,
follow up
thank
with
you,
that?
Chris.
Oh, go ahead, Shannon. Sorry.
I was just going to say, we really rely on our vendors. They are great partners. We have dialogues with them, just like we have dialogues with the folks that we're bringing to them. And so we're representing the client, and we're having a very close relationship with all of the vendors to make sure that we're giving back what you're looking for. And if we don't, we'll say, oh, well, help us figure out why, and let us give you what you actually are looking for. So thank you, Chris. We really appreciate the
yeah. Do you guys have a check system that if a team says, yes, we these windows look great, and I mean, you probably wouldn't spec a 0.5 in the South necessarily. You probably would recommend something lower, but is there a check system to make sure that the project team understands what this value means, or that value, to, because you can mix and match.
It depends. It's a
and
great
low.
question. It really depends. And in that onboarding conversation, we say, where are you? What's your climate? Are you trying to achieve a certification with a third-party rating system? Are you building high performance? What are the goals? And so often, if their goals are not to certify and they are in the South, we move to a double glazed window, and we move to something a step under a Passive House certified unit that still is going to perform beautifully, be airtight, give you the sound quality you need. We haven't talked about sound a lot, but you get a 15 decibel difference between these windows. You live near a train, that's kind of a big deal. You live near a lot of traffic. It takes the noise-related illness question out of the conversation. So I know we're at about time here. Kim, are you guys comfortable continuing the Q&A? How are we doing on time?
Yeah,
Mark, you're good, Mark?
yeah, I'm good.
I just wanted to sorry, Mark.
ahead.
Chris, I'd just love to follow up on this point offline, because this seems like exactly a place where there needs to be more transparency, and that's kind of the theme of everything that we're trying to do at Source, is make sure that the manufacturers are presenting the information that you need in a way that's digestible and comprehensible, so you can make your decision based on full statement of the facts, not just on assumptions that turn out to not be the case, or what the salesperson felt like telling you, when you called. Let's get it all, out in the open. So when you're deciding between two products or several products, you're making that decision based on, the information that's important for your project and your performance goals. So
Yeah,
I think it's something that we could really be helpful with on kind of holding vendors to that, and making that more transparent to the decision making process. So I'll shoot you an email. Let's follow up offline.
Well, let's do it. And just the last,
pursue that. Yeah, go ahead.
definitely. And the last point is the accountability, putting the accountability of of choice in the hands of the owner, the person purchasing it, to make sure they know exactly what they're getting. They're responsible for that choice. Covers your tail, covers their tail,
Yep.
and I think all around. And finally, Shannon,
Yeah.
triple pane window frames with double glazing here in the Southeast. Superb. We're doing it on our Passive House, and it's amazing. So Epoch Windows and Doors out of Colorado, get them on your team. They're amazing.
Oh, thank you. Fantastic. Thank you, Chris.
Great
Excellent.
suggestions, Chris. And again, in the audience, if you look around, you have Hastings, Patrick, Maxwell, many folks answering questions. And you have questions being asked next by Jane Sanders. Jane, are you with us still?
Hi, yeah, I'm still here.
Thank
Yeah, I second the thing about providing the data both in European numbers and in like American NFRC numbers, because it's really helpful for architects like complying with energy code. A lot of people don't realize that the SHGC numbers are different and calculated differently in Europe versus the States. So I just want to like reinforce that. A couple other questions. The Alpen storm windows, I'm really interested in that product because we work on a lot of non-passive house retrofits of historic buildings and things like that, places where we just adding a storm window can make a huge difference. I was told by an Alpen rep, I think at the FIAS conference, that they're only offering those for like larger commercial projects. Is that true, or is it possible to do small orders with that like for a residential project, for example?
We've done smaller projects. I don't know, John, have you had any communications with Alpin about size constraints? Because the vendors do change their minds about what they want to supply sometimes.
Yeah, there's never been a stated kind of minimum order, but they're obviously, always looking for the bigger projects. But I think that it's also a place where we could potentially help maybe convince them that there is a large market for maybe smaller projects. They're, rather than looking at them as one-offs. If there's a real trend there, that's something they should be looking at. So let's take this offline. Send me kind of what you're looking at, total positions, type of thing, and then we're happy to bring that to them and see what we can get done.
Great. Yeah, and then also just about I was curious about I also love liquid applied sill flashing that Kevin mentioned. I was curious how long that takes to dry. Like if you're doing we did a large window install in a co-op building with occupied apartments, and it was important to kind of like keep the pace moving, and for that reason chose like peel and stick products. But I was wondering how long that you have to let that dry before you install the window.
It's about, the answer is it depends, because it's a moisture cured product. So it needs
Right.
moisture from the air to cure. The STPs are very much like silicones. So they have this similar drying time to silicones. Half the battle is keeping them clean. So you take a piece of plastic or backing and you put it over it, or just to make sure it doesn't get contaminated with construction dust.
Right.
But on our projects, it was normally a day. Where it was tacky for about 40 minutes, and then it was like a soft set, and then keeping it wouldn't move, and then letting it fully cure. But each manufacturer will have a different full cure time. But it it's it's quicker. It's quicker to install labor wise, and then let it dry than with the tapes and the flashing doing origami. But the nice part of the tapes and the flashing is once they're set and they're pressed, they're ready to go. So you'll have to do some organization. So.
Yeah, the second goes for the expanding foam tapes in the wintertime, the temperature, you really want to read those product details and installation manuals and understand if you're going to be playing a waiting game while these things set or while they expand. We did a window mock-up in the winter to find that out the hard way the first time. And
Mock-ups.
Yeah, mock-ups.
Yeah, and I put this in the chat, but I would love to see like Almovert or any of the other thermal bridging products that you can screw into available in like a 2x4 or 2x6 size, because I love using it around window openings. But then if the thickness isn't quite like the contractor's cutting it to be the right size and all that, the timing, like it would be super convenient if because they're used to just
Yeah,
putting
yeah.
wood
We
blocks.
can get
That's
them
a
cut.
great request. So we actually have a US manufacturer of our thermal break materials too, and they have a whole line of different compressive strength and different R values related to those. And they will mill from their sheets whatever sizes you want.
Mhm.
So we can have them delivered to whatever size you like.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jane, and please follow up with John as well. You guys, we have about 6 minutes or and less. So Ken, if you're available, Ken, your question.
Ken had to jump off the call. He just messaged
Sorry.
me privately, so I think we can go over to Andrew.
Got it. Andrew? Andrew Fowler?
I think he left too.
How about Julie? Is Julie Blazek in the house?
I am.
All right, Julie.
Yeah, my question was about corner windows and if you have manufacturers that you recommend or if they're all pretty good in performing or providing those types of windows.
So I think our most popular, if you're talking glass to glass corner units with no mullion, is our Schuko International line. The one project that we showed you with the, oh my gosh, help me out here, guys, my Goodman project.
Enerson?
Thank you. Enersign did a number of corner units for us. They did have a corner mullion, but it was very almost invisible.
That's a custom solution. So if you have that, we can just ask the manufacturers that we work with which ones they currently have. But those are the two more popular ones. But that's
Awesome.
you know.
Thank you.
Yep. You bet.
Carl, you're up next. You had a question for Kevin Brennan?
Yes, I'm in climate zone 3, 1,500 square foot house. I'm putting in tilt turn windows. If I use your I guess outside foam type thing that goes outside or alongside the what do you call it, Rockwell, and I got an inch, how do I attach the window with a flange to the foam and through the foam into the plywood?
You would attach through the Blaugau product. So the first thing is if you're getting tilt and turn windows, I don't know which the flanges may not really be necessary. So the flanges are an extra thermal loss. They're nice for easy attaching, but these windows attach a little different. Some of them have clips and some of them get screwed through. So it all depends on which manufacturer you're using. But having the window in the insulation layer outbound in your climate, and then we can work on the thickness, I believe, with Blaugau. I think we can get you 1-inch thick product, but I'll ask the rep tomorrow. So if you knew you were having 1-inch rock wool on the outside, and then you would get your Blaugau buck built outside, that all gets glued together with their polyurethane sealant, and the EPS doesn't actually absorb any moisture, so it's kind of like pre-flashed, and then it gets sealed behind. If you wanted to overflash it or tape the seams, I don't think that's an issue. A belt and suspenders approach, but the window would be hanging outside, anchored down below, so the product can handle the weight of the window itself, and it's anchored back with the clips into the rough opening to the plywood, and then you can get your full air seal inside and water seal outside.
Okay. Okay. And I'll talk to you tomorrow some more. Okay, great. Thanks.
Great call. Thank you.
And thanks to everybody for coming on today. It's a great group, a great crowd, and we're thrilled that everybody could make it, including a lot of vendors. It's so fun to have everybody here.
Yeah, thank you all very much. Just a quick reminder, 2 quick reminders. We have our deep dive with Blaugelb tomorrow at noon. Sign-ups in the chat. I hope to see you there. And we also are, I said, looking for beta testers. If you've got a window project coming up, you've got your schedule, your drawing set ready, email us info@source2050, or you can use the upload link on the website. Get a conversation started. We'll see if it's a good fit for what we are kind of experimenting with, and ask you if you want to come on board as a beta tester. Please get in touch. But thank you to the accelerator, Mark.
John, Kevin, Shannon, Source 2050, thank you so much for the presentation. Everyone in the community, your contributions, both to Source and to the Accelerator are welcome. On behalf of Kim Davis, Zach Semke, Michael Ingwe, I'm Mark Willey. Join us next time on Passive House Accelerator.